Drawing lines. When you're in AutoCAD, you'll see across the top of the ribbon different tabs. Each of those tabs holds similar commands that have to do with a particular aspect of AutoCAD. The Home tab is the most popular. When you have the Home tab, you have panels for drawing and modifying and creating layers. We're going to talk about drawing. The most popular command is the line command. You can also draw circles and arcs and rectangles and all sorts of different shapes. So we would pick line, we would pick a point, and then we would start to draw it. As you can see, I'm getting all kinds of strange angles and all kinds of strange distances. I can escape to get out of that command. Those are not good ways to draw. The best way to draw is to set something called a snap mode. Okay. If you off-click on snap mode, see it's blue background, it means it's on. You want to change its settings. Okay. It's now set to 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, which is a perfectly good snap grid for architecture. If you were doing details or say a title block, you might want to set those much smaller, say 1/8 inch or 1/16 of an inch. If you were doing something large like a reflected ceiling plan, you might want to have different X and Y spacings, 2 foot in the X, 4 foot in the Y, to reflect a 2 by 4 ceiling panel. Okay. The next thing is if I use ortho mode, I am constrained to 90-degree lines, 0, 90, 180, and 270. I find polar tracking much more useful because I can add, say, I can do it at 45 degrees or 30 degrees or 22 and a half, any of these. And the settings here, I can even add additional angles. So if I wanted to add 30 degrees, I could snap to 30, 45, 60, 90, and work around. Okay. The next thing is object snapping, which allows me to snap to particular kinds of points. In the settings here, I can snap currently to endpoints. They're represented by rectangles or squares, midpoints, which are triangles, and perpendicular, which is that right angle symbol, and intersections where two lines cross. So now if I draw a line, you will see that dashed lines means I'm constrained to 0 degrees, and it tells me I'm at polar 2 foot 11 and a half at 0 degrees. I can enter distances in a couple ways. I can try to get this to 3 feet, and I did, and now I can pick 3 feet. Okay. Or here at my command line, you'll see that I could undo that point. Let's say that was an incorrect point. Better is to actually enter the distance, and for let's say we want 3 foot 3. Okay, I would type in 3 foot 3 shift inches. Okay, comma. It's 3 foot 3 inches in the X direction. It's 0 in the Y direction. That's one way I can input distances. Another way is to actually run the cursor in the direction I want and put in that distance. That's a polar, a distance, and I give it the direction with the cursor. So let's say we have a distance of 1 foot 6 dash 1 over 2. Don't necessarily need to put the inches in because AutoCAD defaults to inches, but that's 1 foot 6 and a half, and that's how that information gets entered. Okay. At this point, I might want to get this perfectly squared up. I would like to make a rectangle. I could either remember that it was 3 foot 3, but at this point I actually don't remember if it was. So what I would select is something down here called object snap tracking. And you can see that when it's, come on, when it's blue, it's on. If I put my cursor on a point, I have acquired that endpoint. When I pull away, you can see there's a little green X on it, a little crosshairs. Okay. When I'm perfectly aligned with that, I get this dashed line, which means that this is now perpendicular. Okay, it's at 180 degrees, and it's aligned with the piece above. Now if I see that endpoint, I know that no matter how far away I get from that, I'm going to grab that endpoint. Okay. Again, if I want to run another line, I just off click to disconnect, or you can press escape. If I want another line, I can off click and it reloads the previous command. And I can now draw a line from that midpoint, and it tells me it's a midpoint down to the midpoint. And again, I off click, I can enter, and that's the end of that command. That's pretty much everything you need to know about lines.